Hi, I'm Kate Edwards, president of Together Hospitality, and I'm joined today by Liz Mendez. Hi.
Hey, and I, of course, am Liz Mendez, founder of Aldea Hospitality and Productions.
Tell me more about what your company's doing.
It is a development hub and creative studio. On the hospitality side, an organizational and leadership development rooted in culture as well as coaching. And then on the production side, a creative studio of written, video, audio, as well as experiential work. And then those two pillars are really tapping back into the art and craft of our industry.
Tell me what art and craft means to you.
We have, rightly so in the industry, sort of been in survival mode for quite a while, the last 5 to 10 years. It can really set us up for a scarcity mindset. That impacts our business in very instrumental ways. The art side of it is the finesse and nuance. And the craft side is really getting into the skill and knowledge of our industry.
Okay, cool. So then how does this apply to hospitality?
We have leaned into sort of this over-polished, finished product, really leaned into the art side. The work that we're doing is saying this is an important part of it, but so is the development of the skill and knowledge.
All right, so honing your skills and knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Give me an example of that. Like how does that show up? How do you work with your clients?
On the artistic side, hospitality industry really gave us the runway to focus on the artistic side because so many of us folks have creative backgrounds, music, writing, painting, etc. How that can show up is in something like menu development. So there's really an art and craft in menu development from a perspective of what food's going on the menu, how are we being fiscally responsible with our pricing, how are we teaching the team to, sell the food and whatnot, as well as what's happening in the kitchen and how are the cold and hot items coming off the line. So menu development is a really great example of sort of the art and craft there.
Practical piece, the selling piece, and then the showcase for the food that you've created.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned, very importantly, the fiscal responsibility.
Sure
tell me more about that.
Sort of in this scarcity mindset, let's simply get more people in the building to spend with us, right? Fiscal responsibility looks very different from the phrase that I love to use, which is corner bars to Michelin stars. In that, everyone has to figure out really what works for them. But when we start to talk about an abundant mindset, we start to talk about not discounting your product. And we have seen real success in actually going the other way from discount and doing things like opening up a higher end bottle of wine and pouring it by the glass.
Okay.
And giving guests a really exceptional experience and an opportunity to enjoy the art and craft of the wine itself.
All right.
And then also find value in the experience and try something that maybe they wouldn't have had before.
Now we picture that art, of course, would be in the kitchen, but then what are some ways that it shows up in the front of the house?
There's a beautiful art to running a room as well as a front desk. There's also, I really love the artistic dance that happens behind a bar in a restaurant. A lot of my upbringing in the hospitality world was behind the bar. And there's that finesse and nuance in moving behind a bar while you're also tapping into that skill and knowledge, right? You're making the drinks on the menu, you're telling the stories of the wines by the glass, all the while really doing that dance, working with other bartenders and servicing the guests. So running a floor and behind the bar are great examples of that art showing up front of house.
That is the combination then of the art of it, right? The knowledge, sort of the finesse, as you were saying, and then that craft piece as well.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit more about what you're sharing with your clients.
We often talk about the art of it, but on the craft side of it, what we are talking about is that culture and coaching and creating that environment where we can tap into that craft. Because too often, someone who gets promoted from a line cook to a sous chef doesn't really realize that they're now a manager and a people leader. What we're working with clients on is creating a culture that is curious and learning and really not only helping folks hone their skills, but tapping into meeting them where they're at, what are they excited about and what do they want to do, and helping them navigate that.
And it sounds like setting the stage for understanding that this is the progression, right? You're not just an artiste, you are also going to be a manager of people, an organizational manager, things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's where you get into the skill and knowledge of being able to set your team up for success. Also then, how that impacts, how you set up your team for success impacts the guest experience.
You really have this power to make an impact on other people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Too often with being stretched thin, we don't have the opportunity to not only set ourselves up for success, but we end up finding ourselves in silos.
Tell me how you sort of get your clients to understand this or believe in it.
The first thing is we start with culture. We always start with culture.
Right.
Where is the wellness of the operator? What is the culture of the business? Because, when we come in, we want to make sure that we're being respectful of that and really understanding that perspective, and then assessing where our work can sort of fill in rather than just override.
What's something then that you stress with them?
The word Aldea is Spanish for village, and we truly feel like people should not be going it alone, whether that is finding a community like Together Hospitality, or collaborating with folks on dinners, or really reaching out and finding mentors, talking with people that you admire, really taking that village mentality, making sure that you don't go it alone.
100%. I mean, that's the thing. Our business is all about working together as
Absolutely.
a team.
Yeah, for sure.